first thing is healing self. So in reflection of a close family member that I have and his addiction, I have to talk about a subject that for some people, they should take that to heart. Because the time of what you will call ascension or ascension Armageddon within will come for everyone. When the native tribes predict that knees will be bent, that is, you better do your squats, you better get sober now, you better clear your acts now, your deeds and everything before that wave hits. That wave is known as a dragon mesh. It's called a divine filter. I stated in the Earth is no longer under quarantine video that evil directly cannot come back here. I have to add to that. Meaning, those beings that are lower dimensional have access only through unconscious contractual agreements that the human race has made. To see the starseeds that have the mind to use their intelligence in this wakeful moment, it's called self-governing, self-authority, sovereign of you, that is not bound to a passport or a land or a group or a nation, that is bound to you. First off, we do not rattle the establishment. We do what has to be done in a peaceful manner and order so everybody can really gracefully make the transition. And that is to be understood for all starseeds, you know. Pardon, I have to clean my shades. So, under the light of the source, all is one, but not everybody makes the same decision. Why that is has to do with ego. So you can say evil is not defined by a figure that you'll call the devil, which is fiction. He doesn't exist per se. Same as the bearded god, as in the god in heaven, doesn't exist. That's a Naburian, Babylonian image. The old world of devil is Enlil. Said Enki is the devil, Aquaman is Enki, his brother is Enlil, and he wanted to be the ocean master. I mean, the story, the fall of Atlantis, you watch the movie, it's played out over and over. If you want to decode that, watch that movie, very interesting. It's being brought back to remind us a lot of stuff also in the Americas is Atlantean healing. And you also have to make a difference. There's a lot of stuff in the fourth dimensional realm. It doesn't have access here. The problem that people have with these theoretical construct is if a fear-based pattern makes you act out something violent in this dimension, then it is manifest. Only by you, not by spirit, not by Anunnaki, not by ancestors, not by attachment. Now let's go talk about the attachments and the addictions that people have. I've seen it myself. I got the confirmation from many different shamans that live in the jungle, in the Amazons, the Kogi, Aborigine, Inuit, people that know stuff, travelers, monks that I've spoken to, like professionals that can go into the psychedelic state, some at will, some with their holy sacrament, ordained by their church in all legality. Monitored and not for kicks and not as in recreational and not chemical, all biodegradable. So, they say an alcoholic has a deal with a jinn. Interesting. Liquor, spirits, you're drinking spirits. The shaman drinks liquor and spits it out because liquor is pure and spirits are attracted to the highest level of purity. The purer it gets, the more fire it actually holds. There's nothing healthy about that. What alcohol does to your DNA when consumed in a high dosage is it rips your DNA and RNA connectors to shreds. It also changes the character. So jinns are inherited by our ancestors. So if you can say, father or your relatives were heavy into that, you most likely you have the epigenetic construct of being that. But what I want to relay is this. I had an accident in Berlin, I think maybe 15 years ago, where I was at a party. They eating cookies, these space cookies. I did not know what that was. I'm thinking sweets. Nobody really said anything. Everybody giggling, and I'm eating like eating. Not really. I wasn't really aware. It wasn't really fair. And snap! I was in another world. And they said, let's go to a club, while I'm collapsing, not realizing it was a psychic initiation for me to see what I needed to see. So for me, this wasn't party. This wasn't fun. This was horrible, but it was also fantastic. And that shall never. I was like, that never happen again. You don't want that. This is a level of not recommended. Nowhere for no one at no time. So I'm in a club, and I see these people drinking, and drunk people, and I can see their attachments, like clubs and these parties that are not divinely protected are jinns central, meaning jinn as in, if you read the Quran, evil jinns, as in spirits with ill intent. So these jinns need their kick through you, meaning when you drink, let's say Stanley Stotterstock died in 1834, an unfortunate death by being drunk and falling into a river. Mad at the world, bound to earth, he seeks a conduit that has the same pattern, maybe even in the same family line, and attaches himself to a fractal that has that addiction or the potential. So when you drink, that jinn is standing right behind you. So if you're a shaman, you see that jinn in full formation. He's with you. Negative thoughts that you have and judgmental and critical thoughts will also call forth critical spirits. In the future, the shaman, Jesus, Ali Muhammad, in the Talmud, the Torah, all of these holy books advise in the same manner that there's a price to pay when you cannot maintain your divinity and your purity. So this egotistical thinking of getting away by finding rehab or stuff that can help you to get off it is also a grand lie. That's another betrayal you're doing to yourself. And they show the statistics how this does not work, how people were never healed. And the shaman said simply this: these beings that have heavy addictions, and it's not just for those who have addictions, those, let's say, family feuds, family members that don't speak to one another. Usually the one that doesn't speak is the one with the attachment. If a person is angry and is acting out against the divine direction, you're under control. You're not in control of yourself. And some people will react to this. Some people even want to say vote negative for this video. That means you're being controlled. Like, make no mistake, when I set up retreats, and I'm doing this now strict with from a shamanic point of view, with all clarity and being sober, it is to be seen with your action and the action afterwards of what is in control of you. So when somebody, let's say, uncontrollably curses or can't heal a friendship or cuts people out, or you're being rejected and one being is not able to process that, as not only the being cannot regulate that, it is the being is probably in control of their attachments. So you have to also see that in the egoic self-sensationalism construct of the esoteric industry and UFO groups and meetups, where everybody wants to run the show, and the few that are past the nuts and bolts with the evidence are hardly being heard. They don't have the long lines, but they have stuff in hand that the sensationalists refuse to look at. And you won't even be, how do you say, put in the groups or allowed in those groups, what we have seen. And the natives, you know, where do they speak? When do they speak? You know, we have to see that our ancestors ransacked, pillaged, raped everything left and right. You know, the Middle European nurse, and throughout history, over and over and over, history gets trampled on. I don't want to know how much history of this earth is lost because we're digging in the wrong spaces. So I'm cruising a little bit so you give you an idea over an overall topic. There are a lot more things here to be looked at. So the kids that see, they know the truth. So if some little boy cries because a guy enters the room, you have to wonder. If a cat doesn't want to be held by some dude and goes wow, you have to really look at that. Kids, birds, animals, intuitives, autistic children, Asperger's, they all know. I have a group of friends of mine that are autistic but on a level where they can communicate with me, and they can switch from those states. I have a lot of friends, they're also Asperger's. When I was in the beginning with a group of people, 2012, they could see, they could say you're blue, and there was somebody standing next to you, they were red and spiky, and you're not supposed to be with them. I learned to listen to those people, you know. They can see the whiskey bottle on the table, and then they can see a guy in a room that has a cord to that bottle, so they know what addiction looks like. It's like a program construct that is to be seen, and it's not to blame those with addictions. Is to there are movies out there how people went into the world and into the jungle and faced their demon. Ultimately, there's no excuse. Face their doings, their upset. Like for my close family member, and I've seen that with many others, and I carry you in my heart. That's why I say this. They lost the wife, custody of the kids, they lost the apartment, they lost the house, they failed to pay the mortgage, and the alcoholic parasite took over to a level where it almost breaks my heart. One of my members lives in a trailer, you know, and the other one has people basically keeping him financially afloat to feed the parasite. And the deal is that we have to acknowledge that and see that, and these attachment, James Gilliland also mentioned that in this video, is that we have contractual agreements with pain and wounds that we carry in our soul, and these are like black cords to other beings, from ultra-terrestrial to interdimensional to whatever is here. So yes, to bring it back to Earth no longer being under quarantine, you can make the better choice. Basically, you are free to get up in the morning to make the better choice, or to have the ingenious idea to create an invention that will enable the planet to live for the greater good, to make life more comfortable and make everything for the betterment of the human race. That is up to you. That is up by your divine design. But you can also go back to the bottle and drink. And we had cases, and may they rest in peace, where people went back to it and they passed. So rest in peace to those family members. You know who you are, whatever substance that was. They returned to it and they moved on. Because it will take you. It doesn't have a good end. The thing is that your decision and your choice points create a timeline of where you should go by divine right. Your angels can lean in but so much to help you to actually figure it out and live better, and for the greater good for you and for all. And if you heal yourself, you heal your family. But it starts with choice. When I was in the hip-hop game, and I'm like 18 years old, coke around me, everything around me, alcohol, all of this, and everybody offered for free. I could have stacked the fridge with what I was offered for free, which is actually that what is the trickery. That's where actually the devil lies. And you have to make a choice. I'm not saying I'm a saint, but I was never interested in that thing. Anything mind altering of a chemical substance that your body cannot biodegrade and process, and there's nothing divine behind that. There's no sacred rites. There's nothing. Since I was young, I was always like, no thank you. If that's what you want to do, you do it. And I see those people 20, 30 years later, and many, I know at least 10 of friends that I had that I grew up with have passed. They have moved on, a little younger than me. So it has no future. And this next year will show us, if you continue that, you will have to give up at some point, where you will be put in a situation where the opportunity to get what you want, to feed that attachment, you will no longer get that. And then this attachment will die. And when the attachment is dead, you no longer feel the need or crave to fill that void, because you're depressive. They have checked brain states of people that have addictions. Whatever the addiction is, as in a substance that you take in that alters you to a level that is not beneficial for your cellular function, as in totality. There is no debate. Okay, so when they looked at the brain states, and you have there are four hemispheres of what can be measured: alpha, beta, gamma, and delta. And when they not harmonious, I mean, not the point that we are also past Atlantean, when we're not fully synchronized, we're like left and our brain is right brain is here, we're not fully here. We're learning to go there psychically. But for those with addictions, within that left field, you have a gap. You have a drop in your alpha. There's a drop there, and somebody who knows how to do EEG, the brain frequency analysis, can see that your depression lies within your brain state. They can see that with mood swings. They can see that with people that meditate. They can see that with people that do transcendental meditation and claim they're in bliss. I've seen a video where they show it's about where people are in fake happiness. They smile and they run around, it's namaste, and they mad at the world, and they pissed, and stuff is not really working for them. And all of this, oh, I'm positive, never mind. It is all, you look at this, and I'm in my heart, and I hate the world. And yeah, and I'm doing my workout, and I'm doing my aerobics, and I'm in bliss. And you're not really there. We have to stop fooling ourselves. Maybe the kid down the corner or the cat down the road that plays with marbles has more fun than the millionaire that just made another million the next day. And where the million is in the knowledge. The Mayas, the Aztec, the Olmec, the Toltec, the Inuit, Aborigines, and further back, the gold that was to be worshipped was the insight of knowing who you are cosmically and remembering that. That is where your power is. That is the internal wisdom, the wise dome wisdom, okay? Knowledge, knowing the ledge. That is, you can map out where your life is going and become your own inner shaman. So know that when there are people here that have agreements with negative entities, and they do negative, and they will not bring any evidence of whatever experience they want to share. It is like, if I create a story from somebody who has a real experience, then the story is real, but it is not my experience. That is like in Africa, an ancient saying. Germany has also an ancient saying like that, is you steal the feathers from a peacock and you run around and you sell yourself that you're a peacock when you're not. That also has a price. There's a follow-up where you will pay for that you're mimicking something that you're not. You have to truly actually be who you are. For those who are connected to the Syrian collective, you are Syrian. Those who are connected to the Pleiadian collective, you are Pleiadian. And it'll be evident, it'll also be evident to the technology that you will channel. Past the nuts and bolts are also kids where you have to watch Mary Rodwell, The New Human. Highly recommend that, where kids can perform tasks that these narrators that you see on stage cannot perform, cannot decipher, nor read, nor channel, nor speak, or write down. Like light language that is inherited by gene codes that are turned on in us, because you are all extraterrestrial to a degree, and we have to come to the realization that we are that. And you could say a fairy tale of a good friend of ours. He told me about how he was about to drink alcohol and take substance, and he can see the gate of the demons and with a cord attached to the bottle on the table, and they were like, do it now, and they were waiting to jump him. And he said he was that open that he could see these beings. They were waiting to jump all into him, and they take over your thought patterns, they take over your control, and you're not in control. That means, let's say you go into the post office. I saw one person where I knew she had attachment, and when a person walks into a situation, the eyeballs, as in the pupils, go dilated, not because they're high or they're on something, is the entity is accessing. And then they have this look like this, call it the Manson look, as you have a possession, very deep, deep, deep. When you look at the pictures of World War II and all the corroborators of holding it down, look at them standing there. And I'm not naming their names, so look at their faces. This was a mass possession. This was the Mayan calendar has predicted that was the last time the Dark Kingdom would try everything to take over this planet and have this planet plunge into darkness. You see it in these dystopian games that are developed on PlayStation, how we're living out our zombie land, how we're fighting armies of undead. All of this stuff are parallel timelines created for what could have happened if it wasn't prevented by, thank the angels, thank the source, the Most High, God, Allah, Jah, Jehovah, whatever you want to be. Thank them and the work of the good ones to uphold the light like a lighthouse so the others can find their way. And this is your job. This is important. And it'll be evident. It can't in the future no longer be faked. You won't find providence or a big harvest when you are giving people illusions. You know, David Blaine, David Copperfield, these are nice tricks, but they don't heal cancer. Make no mistake, this is entertainment. And we have to understand there's a difference between entertainment, manipulation, hypnosis, and the gullible us that sits there and takes it and nothing ever changes. And then there is entertainment, an inner entrainment, and you can change something. There's one little miracle that I have that I want to share to wrap this up with my mother. Which is my mentor is my mother, because if she doesn't have a belief system, how can I convince her or bring into her world through her layers that this can be believable? That's my training, none other. That's my greatest guru, is my mom. Now, she has spinal stenosis. If you want to share, send prayers, see my mom in the great light and give her that. She needs that in her old age. And I sat down and I prayed and saw my mom in light, and I was sending her stuff, like energetic stuff, salts that were programmed to decalcify the pineal and the body and whatnot. And she didn't believe in anything, and it wouldn't work for years. And I always convinced her, you go get into ashwagandha, get into shilajit, get into your organic sulfur, and have the discipline to continue that. This is how disbeliefs with other entities can control us to prevent us from ascending, because that's what is the dark side. As long as you hold contact with them, they're trying to prevent you from going within the body into the light, staying here. So last week my mother calls me and says, I don't want to be that loud and I don't want to wake sleeping dogs, German saying, but my back pain has disappeared, which was constant. I'm feeling better and a little more strength is coming back. So if we can find modalities that physically a change can take place in a non-believer, not saying that my mom was an absolute unbeliever, but this is for others out there that want to, and this can't be true and all of this. Make your own experience. You know, don't believe in anything what I say. You know, drive to the Grand Canyon, sit there, look at it. Feel your feelings. Fly to Hawaii, sit at the beach, meditate, go inside, feel your feelings. Wake up to the fact of understanding who you are, and develop what is very important for this next year, self-sovereignty. Okay? And also, side note is understanding reality. What is physical manifests is here. What you don't see is not here. There is a fourth dimensional template and it'll wobble for a minute in an extreme case, until we are clear, I gotta check my time here, you know, before my camera. So okay, we have like 3 minutes left. So don't make claims of things that you're not when you're not them. When you can levitate, you'll probably do. When you can fly a plane, you'll probably do. Flobberly blue. So stick with your own self. You have enough to do. And don't vote pro or con for anything. Point that at you and vote. Because when people come, this guy, heaven listens. You're pointing. And 3 times karmically, this stuff comes back at you. That's an old German law. So pointing fingers will not help you. But you can actually draw out and say, well, there's a person over there that I have evaluated, not judged, that said we're all family, but yet I'm not sitting at one table with you. You abandoned me, you exploited me, you go around me, and you can't speak truth when truth is spoken, then you're not on the same path with me. Watch those people, and the following will change. And it's not in the views, it is in the conscious views and the people that are consciously with you that are behind you. And so in truth, somebody can have 20,000 subscribers, but 50,000 views. Well, that is your truth. That is what you speak, that is for you, that is designed for you, and you are here for that to help those. Those who work in the light, those who do their job, we're not sensationalists. Yes, of course, we all want to be up there, but we want to not be derailed from what we're here to do, and to remember that this is our job to fix this. And this is an ongoing job, and ascension never stops. See, I went to the golden light. I had a near-death experience. And even before I was born, and I'm still here. It happened in my body. So I died a few times, and I'm still here. So I think I know the difference. So do you. I love you very much, and I most certainly see you on the flip side. But don't tell nobody.